You're listening to the No Gray Areas podcast with Patrick McCullough. We welcome Patty Wyatt, a personal and corporate life coach. She guides us into changing our way of thinking from a what-if mindset to embracing a right-now mindset. Let's lean in.
Patty Wyatt, so good to have you here. We've known each other. We were just talking about when we were walking in here. How long have we known each other?
I want to say over a decade.
Over a decade.
Yeah. I met you when I was up in Payson and Donovan Christian. You were speaking there.
Yeah, I was preaching a little church up there.
Yes.
Yeah. And you came up and said, hey, I live in the valley. And
yeah, and spot on, because at that point, I was going into strip clubs and helping.
You might want to explain that. Just explain that, Kate.
Well, we were going in and helping girls just by simply letting them know, hey, we're here, we love you, here's some cupcakes, whatever.
You were doing amazing stuff. Yeah.
And you were talking about branded.
Yep.
And so I was like, how can we partner? How can we help each other out? And the next thing I know, I'm sitting on your board. Yeah. And that's usually what happens.
You start talking and all of a sudden you're on a board.
and then it's like, wait, now I just signed up for something else.
Yeah. Those were amazing days, though. And, you know, that brand, you mentioned Branded. That was a documentary we made years ago about anti-human trafficking. And I always have to say the anti-word because, like you just saying, I was going into strip clubs.
Right.
Sometimes I say, I used to work with human trafficking. And people are like, wait, what?
Right.
Got to put the anti-human trafficking or explain why you're going into strip clubs.
Yes.
But, yeah, so we started working together. You were on the board. Man, it was amazing the stuff that was happening, right?
It was the beginning. What was taking place. That's why I want to say I think it might have been even 15 years ago. It was a little bit longer. Yeah.
It was 10 to 12. We'll go with that.
Okay.
10 to 12.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Both of us, our memory is just not there.
Yes. Yeah. But those were amazing days because it was right at the beginning of people in the U.S. recognizing this happened here as well. And you had a passion for it because you were already going in. You had a passion for women who were caught up in that and helping them. And so what amazing days there were. So what have you been doing since then, though?
Well, since then, my background is in the airline industry, and I became a corporate trainer. And then I was just teaching flight attendants, teaching pilots on how to get a bomb off the plane, what to do, when you have a hijacking situation. And from there, I went into teaching leadership for women. Lisa Jernigan and I started a ministry called Girlfriends Unlimited.
Well.
Yes, she was on the board. We did that for about a decade, and God just kind of shifts and moves you into different things. And so I went back into corporate training. And now I do a lot with the government, U.S. Navy, the Marines. Next week, it's with the United States Treasury. God has put me on this incredible path.
Wow.
And I do a lot of executive coaching along with the training. So I don't know how that happened.
So what specifically do you coach or train? Is there a specific topic that you're working with, or
mainly like mediation, conflict resolution?
There's conflict in corporations.
Isn't that
business?
crazy? Yeah. And especially right now with the pandemic, there's so much more because we're not getting this organic conversation. We're all just, in snippets. I'm going to send you a text, or I'm going to, Jabber or Teams or whatever you use.
And the text is in all caps. And you're wondering, are you mad?
And we're
I'm
demanding
offended.
things. Yeah. I need that document over here. You told me I had to get that by 2 p.m. So there's a lot of this going on where I can't then see you in the hallway and go, hey, thanks for sending that document. Like we forget the thank you part. We're just demanding. And so it's
that
kind of crazy right now. Yeah. And, we were wired to belong. We were wired to connect, and now we're working in these very isolated, silos. Yeah. And I love it. It's really boomed my business, unfortunately.
Yeah. You have job security because you deal with conflict. There's always going to be conflict.
Right.
But you're saying there's even more so right now because of what we've gone through last year and a half. Yeah.
Yes. And so just speaking on, leadership, what you and I, both love.
Yeah.
And so I'm very passionate in how I train and what I train, just helping people understand how to stay curious with each other and how to help each other. We're really big right now on the self-love and what can I do, for me. And yes, in the airline industry, you put your oxygen mask on first before you can help others. But we've gotten to that point that and this is a strong accusation, actually, so I shouldn't say we've gotten to this point, but what I see often is we're forgetting how to help others. We're just putting our oxygen mask on because we're in survival mode. And then we forget the next part. Yes, and it's this fight or flight syndrome that we're going through. And now it's like, okay, but how can I help you? Where's your pain point? Where's your gap that I can help you close? How can I help you become successful?
Wow.
And that's the part, just trying to help people get from point A to point B by leaning into that. You
just said a phrase that I thought was really interesting. You said we need to be curious about each other. What do you mean by that?
Staying curious, we're all in our own head. I think that's just natural for us to, right now I'm going, okay, what is he going to ask me? What am I going to say?
Yeah.
What profound, poignant thoughts do I have here?
Yes.
Rather than
that's what I was thinking.
Right?
Yes.
So rather than going, hey, what does God want out of this? What is the impact that he wants for us together to be curious, lean in and go, okay, who's our audience? What do they want to hear in the way that the Holy Spirit is going to move?
You're the right person for that because we've known each other for, what did we settle on, 10 to 12 years?
Maybe.
Yeah, 10 to 12 years. You have always been curious about people. Like I've always noticed that about you, that you love to ask questions, but we're not naturally like that as humans, are we? It's like you're saying, we're in our heads.
I think we have to learn to be, it's Philippians 4:8-9. Like, what is captivating your thoughts? What are we thinking about ourselves? Are we really truly thinking, we're told to love Jesus, love others. I'm not saying I do that well, but I try to find out and stay curious and listen to their story.
Yeah.
Because that's when we're going to be able to have an impact and make a difference.
My wife is really, really good with the same kind of thing. She's always curious about people. And even if we get an Uber or something driving somewhere, by the time we get out, she knows so much about that person because she's just started asking them questions.
Yes.
And that's what you're talking about, being curious, right?
Oh, it drives my kids crazy.
Because you
in
do
the
that
line,
same thing.
Where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, what do you have? Oh, I bought that last week and it's so good. And they're like, just stop talking.
Just get your coffee, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. But most people don't do that. Like, I'm surprised how many times I'll go to meetings or sit with someone or spend a day or two with someone, and by the end of it, I think to myself, they don't know anything about me.
Yes.
They never asked a question.
Yes. And it's draining, actually, when someone is just talking about themselves the whole time and they never ask you a question. Like, after a while, it depends on if you're introverted or extroverted, but after a while, you're exhausted.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to pull that out.
Yeah. Thanks for teaching me a lot about your life.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And even if you are curious, you want that reciprocated eventually.
Right.
Or you would hope it would be reciprocated. So that's what you've been doing a lot of then, is you're working with corporations, helping them to become better listeners, helping them to deal with conflict, right? Mm-hmm. I went to your website recently and I saw, I think it's on the very front page, right? It says, what if to right now, or what's the exact phrase?
Yeah, you're going to put me on the spot. Basically, quit asking, what if, and start living it right now.
That's it.
Is that it?
Yep.
That's the concept of it.
Yeah. Stop asking what if and start living right now. Yeah. So good. Why did you put that? Of all the phrases you could use, why did you choose that one?
I chose that one. And like you said, I continuously even want to change that because there's so many other things about, changing the conversation, then we can change the culture. And if we really start doing things today, my husband always says, do today what others won't or what others don't. And
that's how you get ahead.
Right. But as Christians, sometimes we can't say that because it's like, well, what do you mean you're going to get ahead? What do you mean you're going to?
This sounds bad. I even apologized for it right after I said it.
Right, you did. And because the true phrase is do today what others won't so you can have tomorrow what others don't. So, we have a tendency to go, oh, well, that's not very fair. Now, is it? Yeah. But I feel like God has called us. He has called us to do those things today and really be intentional. And I'm not even the best at being intentional with my days, but what can we do today? And even, I don't know if you are familiar with James Clear, but he talks about the 1% rule.
Yes.
And just stacking your goals.
1% better.
Yes, just keep going. What can I do today to get 1% better? And like I said, as Christians, we kind of get caught up in that, but it's like, seek ye first the kingdom of God. We are created in God's image. Why would we not want to get better? And the
whatever
stackable,
you do, work at it with all your heart as
Yes.
unto the Lord, Colossians 3:23. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yet we have a tendency to listen to the lies and listen to, the enemy beating us up going, you're #epic fail. You're not going to make it. You're not going to be able to do it. So we get the but disease. But I can do that when my kids get older. But I'll do that after I do the dishes, but I have to look at this Facebook page. Whatever our but disease is, we're not being intentional with getting from point A to point B.
Yep. Intentional living. That's why it fits so well with this podcast, No Gray Areas, because it's really about choices. The choices we make are going to get us to where we're going to be, good or bad, right? So it's the consequences of choices in a negative way. We make poor choices sometimes, and we'll have to pay consequences for that.
Yes.
So we have to pay attention to that. We'll make good choices sometimes, and we'll see good come out of that.
Yes.
But there's also the redemptive part of that too, right? Even our bad choices, we see where God redeems those, right? We both have stories in our lives where God redeemed that.
We're not talking about those, though, are we?
No, we will not go there. We won't go there. But let's land a little bit more on that intentional living. I like where you went with it, where you're saying we both come from a faith-based perspective. We're Jesus followers, and we believe that Jesus has called us to live very intentionally, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Scripture, you can just dive into it and you see it over and over again, from Joseph to Esther, passionately for such a time as this. Because I think we get caught up that, oh, but Pat, that's you. You're doing that. You're this amazing speaker. You are doing this podcast because that's how God wired you. We are all wired to be creative.
Yes.
We all have these experiences and these gifts and these strengths to truly engage. And it might be as simple as, walking across the street and handing your neighbor a book that you just finished reading. Whatever it is, to be that intentional, to wake up in the morning. Here's a secret sauce. Yeah. So in the mornings, this is the lip smacking.
Everybody's
tips.
getting their pencils out. They're ready.
Write this down.
Wait. No one writes with pencils anymore. They're going to type on their phone. Okay.
And in the morning, what I have, and I can't say I do it every day, but what I have trying to be a little bit more intentional about is wake up with gratitude. I used to tell my kids, 3 things that you're grateful for, because it literally changes the chemical in your brain, and it moves you from one hemisphere to the other. We have
we know that. We know that's true, that it changes the chemical in your brain.
It changes
you
neuroscience.
Didn't just make that up, Patty.
Yeah, well, half of the things I do make up, but this one
is
true. Okay.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
It is fascinating that we can literally change the chemical in our brain. That's like when you're with older people and they're grumpy pants.
Yeah.
It's because they just have let that decay.
That chemical's been dripping into
and they're not thinking differently. Once again, Philippians 4:8-9, they're not letting other things captivate their thoughts, and it's just eroding their brain. Yeah. And we have 50 thoughts a minute. Let me think. 50 thoughts a minute. I want to make sure I'm not making that up. You could Google that.
Yeah.
So within these 50 thoughts a minute, 80% of them are negative. 80% of them can make us just rip each other apart, and tear ourselves down.
So every 60 seconds, 80% of that is spent tearing ourselves down.
Yes.
Or tearing other people down, or thinking negatively.
Unless we can build a bridge,
There's the intentional part again, right?
Yes. And so when you think about like Jonah, when God's over here telling Jonah what to do, what did he do? Oh, no, I'm not doing that. And we can get caught up in that. I know I do. It's like, which one do you want to be? Do you want to be Esther for such a time as this? And if I perish, I perish? No, I don't want to, I don't want to do that. It's easier to go, I don't want to go to Nineveh. I want to do it after I get the kids out of school or after I, finish this job, rather than going, okay, God, what now? So going back to the secret sauce. So in the morning, those 3 things that we're grateful for. So wake up just going, okay, God, thank you. And the gratitude that's there. And then affirmations. How did God create you? We're once again, we're created in his image. What are our strengths? I think we have to pull those up and go, okay, God, what do I need to do with these gifts, these talents
That's so good.
you've given me, and
That's
be
so
aware
good.
of it. So that way we know what task to do in our day. How do we
Yes.
have these deliverables if we don't even know what,
Yeah.
the affirmations? Then the visualization, and this sounds new age. Whenever you say, visualize, but to visualize your day ahead of time. Like I visualize, I'm going to see Pat today. I'm going to do the podcast. What's that going to look like? What does God want? What impact, what impact are you going to have on me? Like visualize it.
Yeah.
Talk
that's
about
good.
it in your head. Along with your prayer, it's not a monologue with God, it's a dialogue. So you're having this conversation, and then making sure you're in alignment. His word is a lamp unto our feet, right? A light into our path. So when we are in God's word, I always think of when I go to Target and you get that cart that's like bumper cars, it keeps the wheels or just out of alignment.
Or one stuck or
or it literally locks into place and you're like, ugh. That's what sin does. It moves you, it takes you out of alignment. And when we're going down that path and we're intentional, we're going to get there faster. And believe me, this is one thing saying it. It's another thing applying it. I make it sound like, just get it.
You do this all the time. But you try to. You're saying
in the morning, that's
you're intentionally.
It takes 30 seconds.
Yeah. So you think of 3 things that you're grateful for.
Yes.
Right? You think of 3 things.
Your strengths, your gifts, your talents, your experiences. How's God going to use me?
Yep.
What impact can I have on others?
And then you visualize your day and how you can live those out.
Yes.
In what you have planned for that day.
And how am I staying aligned? What am I doing to stay? Am I going to go into quiet time? Am I going to be intentional? Am I getting into God's word? Is it a monologue? Is it a dialogue? So really being intentional with that.
Yeah.
And some days, I do this all while I'm stretching because that's a big thing. I have some aches and pains now.
Yeah.
And so you're just doing that all
the younger audience doesn't know what we're talking about yet. They'll know.
Before I can even get out of bed, I have to make this happen.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes I get out of bed and it's not even a thought in my mind.
Yeah. Wow. What a practical way to talk about intentionally living. Because again, that's one of the things that we can read about in books, or we can talk about, like, you need to be more intentional about living. But you actually gave us a very practical way that will take a few minutes in the morning that can end up building the bridge from the negative conversations we have internally to the positive. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
Have you seen that affect you?
Yes, it is transformational. If you really do this, and I just want to challenge 21 days, they say right around that is how you change a habit. It's just one little tiny habit. That's just a tiny thing that you can do, and you will start seeing a difference in your day and just your thought process.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so Patty, there are people that right now are probably listening going, I need to hear more from Patty. I need to learn more from Patty. How would someone get a hold of you? How would someone connect with you?
So my website is PattyLynnWyatt.com. You can reach me there. I'm on LinkedIn,
Patty
Wyatt.
Lynn, how do you spell that?
PattyLynn and then WYATT. PattyLynnWyatt.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
then you're on social media. If
social
people
media.
Want to connect you.
Yes. Facebook, Instagram. I'm not really all that great on my social media.
Okay.
But I do a podcast called Girlfriend It, and it's discovering your it. Once again, being intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, your divine design, which sometimes that sounds so trite, but I really do believe that we all were created for something specific.
We are. And again, being 2 faith-based people, we believe that as human beings, we're the pinnacle of God's creation, right?
Yes.
Like there's nothing else in all of the universe that God created in his image outside of human beings. So the divine design is not a small statement. It's huge.
It is huge. And even, sharing, I just spent a week in California with my 20-year-old daughter and really trying to unpack that with her. And I don't care who you are, if you're a 20-year-old and I had the opportunity to go to NFL. I was there in Park Avenue in New York City.
Wow.
And coaching their executives. And what happens, this imposter syndrome, the enemy, I just remember walking down the hall and you're seeing all these trophies, the Hall of Fame, all these helmets, football, and I really don't know a whole lot about NFL. It was kind of a waste on me.
Is that how you opened your talk with them?
I know. I'm like,
I don't know much
now,
about.
National Football League, is that what this stands for?
Yeah.
And you just sitting there with these executives and playing in my head, who are you? Like, how in the world are you going to help this person go from A point A to point B when you don't even know how to get from point A to point B.
And everyone knows what you're talking about right now. Every listener feels like an imposter at times,
Yes.
right? And that's what you're saying.
You just feel unworthy. And I
Yes.
just thought, who am I? And that's the enemy, right? Because when you start going, okay, wait, for such a time as this, God has put you right here at this table with this executive, and you have something to offer.
Yep.
But we just beat ourselves up and
Yep.
we feel less than. And you know, it took a lot, right?
Yep.
What is captivating my thoughts? And I had to go, no, you can do this. And it's really easy to do it for other people.
Yeah.
It's hard to do it for yourself. I can tell you
True.
how to, well, what are you doing, Pat? No,
Yeah.
let's move you. Let's get you over here. But we all need a coach. We all need someone to guide us to get to that. We have to surround ourselves with people who can chisel us.
Wow, that's amazing. Thanks so much for being here. The thing that I love that you shared today, again, it's intentional living, but you gave us something very practical to do. I need to finish with something that's really ironic that we do with all of our guests here. And it's ironic because we call this no gray areas, you know, about choices. And
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to lie to me.
Oh,
So give me
I like this.
two truths and a lie. So we do this with all the guests, and just
Okay.
the audience then gets to try to guess with me,
Okay.
which is the lie. So 2 truths and a lie
Okay.
about yourself.
I actually really like this. I love 2 truths and a lie. So
You like to lie.
I like to lie. I love the game. I love the game. So one would be when I was in high school, I had a dream list my mom had me write, and it was to hit 7 continents. So I just was able to hit that goal of hitting all the continents, and I went and did a little sprint triathlon in Antarctica. The other one
Wow. Okay.
is, I know, I'm super cool, right?
Yeah.
The other one, I was trying to get my pilot's license, and I was flying a Cessna. I was landing at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, and I was landing on the wrong runway. Almost. Air traffic control was going crazy. I was able to pull up. There was a 737 coming down on top of me. And let's see, my third one, I was
I really
flying.
hope that second one is the truth. We'll get there.
I was flying from Seattle to Spokane to do a corporate event, and I was in an emergency planned landing where the propeller just went, and the whole plane went to the side, and people were screaming, and it was the best adrenaline rush
Wow.
I've ever had.
Did you do some life coaching at that moment?
You know
on the
what?
plane?
What I did learn, it's funny you would ask that, Pat, because I leaned over. Now this is going to give away my 2 truths and a lie. I leaned over because this woman was crying, and I just kind of patted her, you know, thinking, change her brain, right?
Yeah.
Change the way she's thinking, change the conversation, change her thoughts. And I was like, we're going to be okay. How many kids do you have? And she went, and I was like, bad question. Don't
Yeah.
ask someone
Yeah.
in the midst of death. Like, how many kids are
Yeah.
you leaving behind?
That's
So,
perfect. That's perfect.
It was not good.
Well, I'm proud of myself because my son is in the Marine Corps and he's learning interrogation tactics.
Oh.
So I just used one, I think, to get you to give away one of yours. So that last one's the truth, isn't it?
Yes.
I knew it. See? Now I got to figure out which one's a lie. So you've been on 7 continents, which was a dream that you had as a kid.
Yes.
The other one is that you almost caused a crash at Sky Harbor.
Yeah. Landing on the wrong runway.
I know you do triathlons, which is how you were on this. I'm going to say the second one was the lie that almost caused a...
Yeah. No, I've never been to Antarctica.
You haven't? Okay. I could see you going to Antarctica, though, but okay. So you did almost cause an accident in Sky Harbor.
We were fined quite a bit of money.
Do you have your
for that.
pilot's license?
I do not, and that would be why. I figured if I can't listen to air traffic, Delta Tango, pull up. I'm okay, this is not for me.
Yeah, good. I think that was a good life choice. I think that's a good life choice for a lot of people.
Yes, yes, it was.
Patty, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank
It's
you
been
for
fun. Good
having
to see
me.
you again. It was fun. We worked together 10 or 12 years ago,
Yes.
and here we are visiting again, and I
Love it.
always learn from you, so thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Thanks for listening to the No Gray Areas podcast. To dive deeper into the story, be sure to subscribe, follow us on social media, and check out nograyareas.com.